textile waste. In fact, when we talk of textile waste and reduction, then there are many question marks. Because whenever I visit any textile mills, I always see that there are a lot of waste which is around us. So it is very difficult to control the waste. But of course, today I am lucky. I have very good panels. The panelists have already done remarkably well, not only in India but globally. And when it comes to waste, as all of us are aware, there is either a process waste which needs to be controlled, or there is a technology waste which can be controlled. But when it comes to cotton, that as all of us are aware again, carded cotton has 12%. In man-made fiber, it goes to 2 to 5%. But when it is combed yarn, then we are talking of 20 plus percentage of waste which is there in the raw material itself, which we remove in the process. And everybody is talking of sustainability. It means reduce, reuse and recycle. Very simple things to say that, very simple thing to understand it. But when it comes to implementation, all of us are aware it is not that easy, because all our textiles are colored. All our textiles have lot many fibers of various nature, and then we are removing waste out of that, and that all cluster which is coming in the form of waste, it is very difficult to process back, bring it back to the process. We are talking of green textiles, but are we really green? Because textile is one of the most pollutant industry, and it is very difficult to remove all the waste. It is very difficult to take care of the environment. It is very difficult to be green in nature, so called as the green environment. Because we have dyes, chemicals, we use a lot of water, we pollute that particular water, and that water comes back into our industry. So when we talk of control, how we can control solid waste, I think that part we can certainly take care of it. But when it is effluent, of course we have Thermax people, we have other experts who can talk about it. So I am here to take care of them in order to project their machines, their technologies into our industry, so that we can take care of our environment, which is very green. So zero liquid discharge is the one thing which is there, but can we think of zero emission? Because whenever we have certain things in our industry, especially I am talking of textile industry, then the emissions are lot many and they are also creating pollution. Can we take care of that? So natural raw material abundantly used nowadays. Now when we talk of natural, of course, it is also having lot of waste. So when we talk of waste control, can we take care of these controls in a real sense? And can we use modern machines which are supplied by these gentlemen with the technology which is already well proven in the globe, and can we get advantage out of it? That's what are the questions in my mind. So I will first start with Mr. Manish Ranade from Lectra, and I would like to ask you, Mr. Manish, that when it comes to eco-friendly textile industry, what are your efforts? How your organization taken efforts into this particular aspect, and what do you think would be the future?
Okay. Hi, good afternoon, everybody. So, I'm not sure how many of you know about Lectra. Lectra is a company from France, which was basically opened in 1973. And as on today, if any one of you visit Lectra, starting from 2017, Lectra has started working on optimize every consumption which we do in the whole process of apparel manufacturing. We do have a CO2 emission display meter, real-time display at our facility, and we manage that. So every product which Lectra has developed starting from 2017 till date, and now we are in a process of pioneering the Industry 4.0 solution, and the only aim is our social responsibilities to the industry. So if you starting from the equipment manufacturing, today the equipments what we produce are 80% recyclable. Any equipment what we produce today for the garment industry, it is 80% of the components we can recycle. The second part comes on the energy consumptions. So Lectra has worked, lot of efforts has been put into the technology to make sure that the equipments are highly optimized when it comes to the energy consumption. The third part comes basically related to the Industry 4.0 solution, which relates to IoT, data, software solutions, and artificial intelligence. So we started using artificial intelligence starting from 2017 when our equipments are connected with the Lectra server and collecting the data. Because we all know the AI, you cannot start today and start using it or giving benefits from day one of implementing the AI, because AI purely works on the data which has been collected. So every solution what we have today which integrates our cutting rooms, because that's where what we see is approximately 15% is the waste if you are not smart, if you are not efficient, and if you are not optimizing your whole production. So every solution what we have today is AI enabled. Every solution what we are developing today are digitally connected, and every solution what we are developing today is helps our customers, our brands to optimize their material consumption. I will limit here right now.
Thank
Thanks.
you. Just hello. Yeah, just one question along with that, because when we were discussing, we were talking of traceability.
Yeah.
How do you take care of it? Because Indians, when we use Indian cotton, we find that it comes in bullock cart to the ginning machine. After that, we start processing it. So how you can take traceability up to the seed level? Can you
Yeah.
just throw some light on this?
Yeah, so basically, Lectra has acquired an Indian startup in 2022 called Textile Genesis. And there are hardly 3 or 4 companies globally today who are working in terms of traceability. So Textile Genesis is a company based out of India. It's an Indian startup acquired by Lectra. The whole team of developers and R&D team is based out of Bangalore. And we started connecting with the cotton manufacturers to start with. We do not have any Indian cotton manufacturer registered on our portal as on date. We started after that working with the fabric mills. The third stage, we have more than 30 brands today who are registered with Textile Genesis, and then slowly we are coming up to the manufacturing. So that's how Lectra is working. Our current process is to connect Textile Genesis traceability options with our PLM software and going forward into the cutting room and the accessories used in the garment. The whole idea is the once you get the traceability of the process and of all the components what you use in the process, it is much better to think about the waste than optimize the uses and consumption of those things. Thank you.
Great. Just one more submission. You said 15% of waste can be taken care of in the plant.
Correct.
What about the return on investment? Can we think of a payback period of 1 year, 1.5 year?
So to be honest, what we have experienced working with large manufacturers in India, mainly very large manufacturers, the return on investment is not more than 14 to 15 months in the whole process.
Okay, great. That's really great. Thank you. Yeah, now I'm coming to Waterman, Mr. Sandeep Pandey is taking care of what are the means. We call it as the water is life of textiles. Because if water is not there, our industry cannot be there. But again, you are also creating problem for us. Because when we talk of using water, we always pollute it. Now this particular polluted water, what are the efforts which your company takes in order to reuse it, recycle it, and then make it more efficient?
Thank you very much, Avinash ji, and good afternoon to everyone. Veolia is a French organization and it's world's largest environmental company. When it comes to specific, we'll talk specific about the textile segment. Our focus is mainly to reduce the carbon footprint, increase the resource recovery, and reduce the major impact comes when you reduce the usage of water at the source. So which means we want to reduce the intake water from the fresh water sources. So how do we do that? Veolia has developed multiple technologies over the decade of research and development work. We are very well known for our membrane technologies, and with the help of that, we help customers achieve more than 95% of wastewater recovery. So once you do that, once you start reusing the water, your fresh water intake goes down. That's one of the critical aspect of the whole water recirculation. So, people here who are dealing in the water and the wastewater segment, they know Veolia very well for the membrane solutions. So Veolia has over a period of time evolved those membranes, and the energy consumption has been taken care, and we have developed it to the point where now we consume 50% less of what we used to consume, let's say 5-6 years back. So that is one of the aspect. And then we work a lot on the resource recovery. So recently we have developed schemes, and we are working with customers where we are recovering sodium sulfate as a global salt, right? And that is used back. So recovering the sodium sulfate does not only helps customer resource recovering the resource, but it also reduces your operational cost and the load on zero liquid discharge system.
So can we reuse the salt in our own process if at all we have a textile processing?
Absolutely, it can be used back into the dyeing process.
Okay, and how many people are doing this
So right now,
in India?
so there are this work is still in initial stage. A lot of pilots are going on, but we see a huge potential, and I'm sure in maybe next time when we meet, we'll be having multiple names.
Okay, great. Now, when we talk of Indian textile industry, how many of them are using your technology for the wastewater recovery?
A very good question. So we started our work in India, I would say around 12 years back, and we have a very huge plant where our technology, mainly our technology, has been used in Madhya Pradesh. And then now I can say we see a lot of customers coming up and using Veolia's technology. I mean, I would not shy away from saying that, especially in the textile segment, we have almost 100 names working with us, and these are all large manufacturers. But along with this, we have seen a very strong success in the Bangladesh market also. So we have more than 50 customers in Bangladesh market. Obviously, it has been a little bit on a downside from last, I would say, a year and so. But before that, I mean, it's been a great story for Veolia in that region.
Great. Thank you very much. Mr. Eswaran, Mr. Ranade has already made your work very easy.
Yes, sir.
You have been, he has
Good
given
afternoon
cutting
to
and swing already done. Now, how do you take care of waste which is generated within the garmenting for the sewing machines only? And what efforts your organization has done to minimize the waste?
So we support customer to minimize the waste, and mostly they will use for the recycling. For example, knitted fabric, again the after cutting and sewing, whatever the wastes are there, again they will use for the spinning, and they will prepare the thread. Again that thread will be used for the spinning purpose. So like that we are supporting our customers, and we are also having the spinning mills, and all recycled waste also we are using in the preparing the yarn into the fabric.
Great. But tell me one thing, that when we use apparels, you have a lot of colors. When you extract, rather recycle waste, you have those odd melange type of effect of mix so many colors. Is it accepted by the industry when it goes to recycling that you have different colors, because you cannot match it? Because what I know is that when we talk of textile matching, whatever is a sample, you have to have that particular shade, and a lot of efforts go into in that particular process. So when it is recycled, whether it is compromise on the shade matching, or you are allowed to use this type of melange effect or whatever you call it?
No, see, the color matching means people using for the shade matching. Then mostly recycling possible, but some cases color will not match.
Now, as you are aware that 25 to 30% recycled fibers to be used, as already declared by Zara, H&M and other reputed brands. So if at all I am using recycled fibers, of course there would be some portion of mismatch as far as the color shade is concerned. So whether it is allowed officially, or it is we have to still stick to that particular color matching.
It depends on the buyer who is buying and brand. So accordingly, but they are accepting in all the brands, they are accepting to use the almost 90% this thing also they are accepting.
Okay.
That's what I can.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, now we have Mr. Rupesh Dave from Thermax. Thermax is a brand associated with all textile people with their great boilers as well as many other equipment. So what care do you take when it comes to the steam generation, and how you take care of the waste in entire textile process?
Okay. Yeah, good afternoon. See, as far as steam energy is concerned, I'll just give you some of the statistic before I talk further. In fact, total cost of production for any textile process typically, energy is almost like contributing to about say 20% of that, right? So it's very very much essential for companies like Thermax to think about that how do we make this lesser for the customer, and that is where our work starts. Now coming back to your particular question, that how do we do that? Now, if you really look at in steam, there are four parts of it. The first part is the generation, second part is the distribution, third part is the utilization, and fourth part is the recovery. Yeah. So whenever we are actually discussing with any of our requirement with any of our textile users, we cover all four of this, because anything which we are talking in isolation will not make the things straight away you can say beneficial to the customer. The first and foremost thing, whatever the equipment what we have, whether it is a steam generator or whether it is a hot water generator or whether it is a thermic fluid heater, we ensure that the efficiencies which are coming out of the machine, these are best in class. Now how do we do that? First of all, what is most important part is that in the machine we are using the fuel, that is a basic part of it, right? So this fuel has to be understood completely and thoroughly, because this fuel has got two part of it. One is which is a carbon and second is a non-carbon part of it. So when we are designing our entire furnace, or maybe if it is all oil and gas boiler, then the burner technology also, we are selecting exactly as per the requirement of that particular customer. You can say geometry that we have to keep into the heat exchanger, whether we have to keep it as a smoke tube or whether we have to keep it as a water tube. So this is very very critical when it comes to the kind of a requirement customer has in terms of a pressure as well as the type of steam. So this is about the generation part of it. Then comes the distribution. This is a very very most important part when it comes to textile, because if you really look at in textile industry, your steam lines are, it goes as long as almost like 2 kilometers, right? And whenever we have got any kind of a heating substance, whether it is a steam or a hot water generator or thermic fluid heater, when it's transported from generation point to the point of use, there is a good amount of exposure to this entire pipeline to the environment, or the you can say atmosphere. So what is important is that first of all we have to ensure that the design of the pipeline done in very very explicit manner. Second is what are the kind of condensate removal system that we are giving during the entire distribution. And third thing, in most important thing, what kind of insulation that we are providing and what is the kind of size that we are providing. So this is all about the distribution part of it. Third is coming, which is more about the utilization. Now utilization is something which is directly connected with what kind of money that customer is going to put to produce a particular quantity of fabric or maybe any other process which is associated with. So it is very important for us to know that what kind of steam characteristic which will be required for that particular process, which will ensure that okay, what is the heat which we are giving to that process will be absolutely optimized. So this is all about the utilization part. And third and most important part which is coming is the recovery, because this is where the major you can say the savings lie, because this entire process of recovery is nothing but a skill of an engineering art that we are giving to the customer, because your machine is almost like half a kilometer to 1.5 kilometer to 2 kilometers away from the generation point. So how do we really collect that condensate or maybe the flue gas which is coming out of this boiler, connecting it to somewhere, some kind of heat recovery unit at the generation or the distribution point, condensate which is coming out. So all these points are very very critically taken care during the course of entire designing process. So this is the how generally we address the requirement when it comes to textile. So and now over the last I would say 10 years, just to ensure that we don't go wrong in our whole assessment with respect to many times all of us as an Indian, in fact I'm talking about the typical mentality that we always do take pride in our knowledge and experience, but many times that pride of experience and knowledge generally gets devastated when we are talking about some bits. And that's where we have started now the digital front. So how are we going to ensure that each and everything what we are producing is being utilized for the process properly and it is being recovered properly? So we are just taking everything digitally. So this is the way then generally we address our requirement.
Great. I just wanted to take the first point of burner. When you say that as per the fuel, you design the burner,
Yeah.
but you are always keeping us on burner nowadays.
Yeah.
Because with the war, with the other things which are getting changed,
Yeah.
we need to change our fuel.
Yeah.
So when we change the fuel, are we at your mercy to change the burner by itself, or how do you take care of this?
Okay, now in fact, coincidentally, just I was discussing with one of your colleagues about certain requirements. See, now what we have started, because a certain uncertainties, I would say, uncertainties becoming more and more prevalent. So that has forced us to think about how do we make our boiler more flexible with respect to adaptability of any kind of fuel. So now, in fact, we have got the burners which are capable of taking multiple fuels when it comes to oil and gas, both.
Okay.
So it can be heavy oil, it can be light oil, it can be gaseous, or it can be even nowadays, we are talking about hydrogen as of one of the green fuels and all those things. So we are just in the process, and there are some commercial installations are already already in operation. So that is taking care of oil and gas part of it. Similarly, on the solid fuel part of it, in fact, we are making our boiler up to the extent so flexible that any fuel, because in one of the boilers at one particular user has got 15 different kind of a combination, right from fossil fuel to the you can say biomass. So this kind of flexibility that we are providing, this is just to ensure that, because all this fuel management is becoming more and more critical nowadays for the users. And another way of looking at it, now we are just trying to give you the give customer the solution is that we just request them that you come out of all this thing, we will manage your utilities. So we are the owner of the asset, and we are going to sell them the utilities, be it a steam or be it a hot water or be it a kind of a thermic fluid heater system. And in fact, now we have taken the integrated solutions also, like it, including the water treatment, wastewater treatment, etc., all those things.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Pandey, what is the real concern according to you for waste handling in textile industry? You name just one.
I think the major concern in the waste management with respect to water is that the larger brands, obviously the ones which has bigger infrastructure available and export houses, they can afford good technologies and costly technologies and get the things done. But when it comes to MSMEs or the regions where infrastructure is still in the developmental stage, there the proper technology ownership becomes a problem.
But as you are aware that 80% are MSME and 20% are the organized. So you should have a technology which should be for MSME, separate technology.
Absolutely. So this is where the CTPs play a very vital role. So this is the time when government should actually strengthen CTPs and gear them up with, I mean, there could be subsidiaries or other options, which enables them to acquire the latest technologies and make them good enough to do the recycling and making it a total circularity solution.
Great. Mr. Eswaran, according to you, which is the real concern in your field of garmenting?
See, garmenting nowadays, fabric is become the very expensive, the main component to make any apparel. So every customer, every brand is very keen on to to use the recycling one and make use of it. Green factories. So in our industry, many things are getting modernized. And
Okay.
people are using for the solar, and many things are getting changed, and we are also supporting.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Dave, according to you, what is the real concern for utility point of view?
Though I would say we are definitely making a good progress as a nation in particularly textile industry, but the one of the major concerns, something what we are seeing as a technology provider, is that something, we generally use this statement every day, that something which you cannot measure, that you cannot control. So the measurement itself is a question mark, because many of the units which are right now in particularly textile field, they are still running on the conventional ways. I'm talking about the utility piece of it. Okay, so that is where the challenge comes, that we have to educate customer that what are the kind of measurement mechanics possible, what is the benefit that they are going to achieve after having this data available, and how are they going to make some kind of an improvement over the period of time. So this is one area which I will say that we have got a long way to go as a nation itself, as a textile sector itself. Otherwise, if you really ask me on the production side, I think they have adopted the best of the technologies in the world and provide the most competitive rates in the market, I believe.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Ranade, the real concern in textile.
My real concern when it comes to the garmenting is basically the Indian industry has to come out of error and trial process to the data driven process, because that's the most important part. we still see in India that we buy a machine or equipment or a solution to automate, but we do not optimize the uses or optimize the benefits out of that solution. If I want to brief it little more, if there is a time available,
1 minute.
1 minute. Okay. So there are 3 stages where I can see that our industry, and it comes from the garment manufacturing purely, is a design stage where using a new technologies we can avoid or reduce the number of physical patterns and go get into the digital patterns. When it comes to the cutting stage, using cloud nesting solutions and other solution along with the AI enabled automated cutting machines, we can further improvise the fabric consumption there. The third, controlling the productions once we connect all these process digitally. And the last one is controlling the supply chain by connecting 3 sites earlier.
Great. Thank
Yeah.
you. So, what are your future plans as an organization to bring it to India to take care of the waste management?
So practically we are actually there in India. You name any
No,
large,
any new plans which you would like to introduce for Indian market?
yes, so we have recently introduced a product called Valia. This product is basically, you can call it as a ERP of the cutting room,
Okay.
which automate the whole process starting from the brand order entry till the cutting. The whole idea is, how do we produce only as much what you need or what is being ordered? Because what we see today in the manufacturing, we always start taking variance of 5 to 7%. I will order 7% more fabric, I will produce 5% more cutting, I will produce 3% more garments, because we are habitual of this error and trial.
Yeah.
So the whole concept what Lectra is working today in India to reduce that variance, which is ultimately a waste.
Yeah.
Because either a fabric which is not used is a scrap, or the garment which are not gone to the showrooms are again scrap. So that's where the Lectra is working today in India.
Okay, thank you. Any product from Thermax which is coming in India in near future?
Because we are encountered now with this kind of a energy crisis, so we are just trying to make some of the equipment, because see, all said and done, our equipments are actually carbon emitting equipments, right? So we are just trying to ensure that first of all we don't contribute that any longer, because it is ultimately a global requirement at this point of time. So more of, we are trying to control what is the kind of carbon that we are emitting in the you can say atmosphere. And second most important thing, well, we are encountered with this kind of a energy crisis, so we have also come up with certain new applications like electric boilers, because this is something which is very much in operation in European countries. Because of various reasons, India, it was not adopting, but because now we have really suddenly encountered with this kind of thing. So we are suggesting customer based on their specific application wise, that there are some applications which require some small quantity of steam, but it is intermittent also. So maybe you can just detach it with your overall requirement, go for a localized electrical boiler. And for the larger equipment like dyeing and all those things, you can go for the conventional kind of a boiler, which is also maybe you can go for a flexibility with the biomass in the coal. So they can get best out of both. So this is the way we are looking at it. And second and most important thing, as I said, we are generally educating now customer to really measure that what they are utilizing. And that is where we are connecting all our utilities on a particular platform. We are giving the analytics, we are giving them the guidance that how do we really operate this boiler, how are we going to make use of this boiler most efficiently, most critically, and all those things, and availability point of view also. So these are the 2-3 things that we are doing for textile.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Eswaran, why our plant efficiency is lower than Bangladesh, and any measures from your side to take care of this part?
Means productivity point of view. No, here they get bulk orders, mass quantity, like premium
So
brand.
we have shorter lots.
So that what will happen, then people get used to it, no? Before they reach the optimal level, orders get closed. So that is one point.
But is it because they get orders, or because they have the larger installations they get larger orders?
No, because Bangladesh is cheap, So
Yeah.
most of the labels buyer goes there. to bulk produce millions of pieces. We will get sometime thousands of pieces.
Okay.
So we have to do that. That
Thank
is
you.
the main challenge.
Okay. Mr. Sandeep, which new product according to you should be launched or it is in pipeline to be launched in India?
Yeah, so specific to textile, Veolia doesn't have a short-term vision. We are here for a very long-term play. Uh, I really like what Rupesh continuously pushed on, that measurement is the key. So we are focusing a lot on our digital solutions, because we also feel the same, that with continuous monitoring and measurement, right measurement and continuous monitoring, you can actually optimize your chemical consumption, power consumption, enhance the equipment life. And along with that, I also agree to his point that this is the time where we have to reduce the carbon footprint. So we already had this product, but we have launched this recently in India, and we're getting a very good success. So we all are used to of thinking about ZLD. The moment we think about ZLD, we think about tall 12 feet, 15 feet structures consuming a lot of steam. So now we have come up with ZLDs which are compact, skid mounted, and it doesn't even require startup steam, because earlier the ZLDs from pure steam, they came to startup steam only. It doesn't even require startup steam. It has its own electrical heater inside. So it's purely power driven. So these are the multiple steps which we are taking along with the sodium sulfate and sodium chloride recovery.
Great. Okay, so we have finished with our questions. Any questions from the audience? Would like to take 2, 3, please, sir.
Good afternoon, everybody. Sir, my first question is, when we are talking of water technology, there is the latest, particularly in denim, the washing is done by waterless technology. That is, we are using ozone, etc. Is anybody has thought of taking the waterless technology for the other value chain of textiles, particularly weaving in even in any other place where in processing, where we are using where the lot of water is being used. Can we think of anything like this, or anybody has thought anything doing like this? This is the first question.
Already, anybody wants to take it, or I can answer? Okay. Already lot many innovation is happening as far as waterless technology is concerned, by using, as you rightly said, ozone or some other media as well. But to be very frank with you, till now, no solution has come by which they have started using it in commercial with large scale. Of course, pilot scale, already this has been done. And we will certainly see within 2-3 years new technologies which would be coming up for the commercial use as well.
Now, another thing coming into traceability. Are you aware that Indian government has taken an initiative and developed a cotton called Kasturi cotton? It has got a long staple fiber which is very equivalent to Egyptian cotton. Egyptian cotton is 38 mm. We are already at 35 mm. The waste that is generated from this is also traceable. Not only traceable, it is reusable. So that reduces the waste. Lot of things. Are we aware of this? So that we can we can make use of this in the industry. People are probably not aware of Kasturi cotton. And if you look at it, there is not only traceability for spinners and everybody, it is a traceability right for the brands also to know from where the cotton is originating, what is the quality of the cotton. Everything is there, and there is a special facilities for doing this.
Yeah, SRDPC has already promoted Kasturi cotton, even government, Texprocess, sorry. And even government is for Kasturi, but as you are aware that the quantity which is available now is not that sufficient so that entire industry can switch over to it. And of course, all quality parameters are very good of Kasturi, and people should use it.
Not only that, the cost is also much less than Egyptian cotton, etc.
Yeah.
So high value cotton, particularly high value counts, can be spun from this.
That's what I said. All good things are there. Only quantity is not that much so that entire industry can switch over to Kasturi. But these are the good initiatives from government, and especially from the recyclable point of view, and we will get advantage out of it.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other question, please? So, okay, thank you very much to all the panelists. It was really a very good thing to learn that 80% recycling can be done by using Lectra machines. we have very good water technology with us by which we can come out with the zero liquid discharge. We have Mehala machines which can take care of the very good productivity and less wastage in the production. And of course, Thermax doesn't need any different introduction. They have already done remarkably well. And I'm sure that New India will use all these new technologies and then we would be taking care of our own benefits out of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you to all our panelists for the engaging discussion. I now invite Ms. Priyanka Pawar, Group Exhibition Head, Textile and Consumer Shows, and member of the Extended Board of Management, Messe Frankfurt Trade Fairs India Private Limited, to felicitate our panelists. We will now start with Mr. Avinash Mayekar, the moderator of the day. Mr. Sandeep Pandey. Mr. S. Eswaran. Mr. Rupesh Dave. And Mr. Manish Ranade. May I now request all the panelists to kindly come forward for a group photograph?